Some things, once seen, don't fade. I've spent years watching courtrooms, not just the verdicts, but the moments leading up to them. The pauses, the tension, the shift in someone's expression when a question lands exactly where they hoped it wouldn't. Every so often, a case comes along that captures something precise about human behavior, especially how confidence and deception can live side by side. This is one of those cases. At the center was Dr. Richard Calloway, a respected name in his field, published, well-established, outwardly successful. At 51, he had built a career that seemed solid, even untouchable. And yet, on a Thursday morning in a civil courtroom, everything he had built was about to hinge on a single question. But that moment only makes sense if you understand what led up to it. 2 years earlier, Dr. Calloway ran a thriving orthopedic practice in a mid-sized city. He specialized in procedures for knees, hips, and spinal issues. His patient list was long, his income steady, and his reputation polished. He carried himself with the kind of certainty that comes from rarely being challenged. He dressed sharply, spoke with authority, and made sure people noticed his credentials. None of that is unusual. Many successful professionals carry themselves this way. On its own, it wouldn't have been a story. Then came Patricia Chen. She was 47, a physical therapist by profession. That detail matters. She understood the body, how injuries happen, and how they should feel. She wasn't easily dismissed. After a minor car accident, she developed persistent pain in her lower back and left hip. The accident itself seemed insignificant at first, but the pain didn't go away. It got worse. Eventually, it began affecting her ability to work. She went to Dr. Calloway. He reviewed her scans and examined her. His conclusion was immediate and confident. Her condition was due to age-related degeneration, not the accident. According to him, the crash was incidental. She questioned him. His responses were technically correct, but delivered with a subtle condescension, the kind that sounds patient on the surface, but isn't. He explained things slowly, as if she wasn't keeping up. She left unconvinced. What she didn't fully realize at the time was that Dr. Calloway wasn't acting as her treating physician. He had been hired by the insurance company representing the other driver. His role was to evaluate her case for them. That changes everything. Independent medical evaluations are common in personal injury cases, but independence only works if it's real. Patricia's lawyer, Diane Okafor, understood that. Diane wasn't flashy. She didn't perform in court. She was methodical, quiet, and precise. When she took the case, she didn't rush to trial preparation. Instead, she spent months reviewing records, not just Patricia's, but others connected to Dr. Calloway. What she found wasn't dramatic at first glance. It was a pattern. Over 6 years, Dr. Calloway had conducted 31 evaluations for the same insurance network. In 29 of those, he concluded that the injuries were unrelated to the incident. 29 out of 31. Diane didn't rush to use that. She built the rest of the case first, making sure Patricia's medical history, imaging, and timeline stood on their own. Then she prepared for one thing: Dr. Calloway's testimony. When the trial began, he took the stand confidently. He outlined his credentials, his experience, his methods. Everything sounded solid. Then Diane stood up. She started simply. Questions about his experience, his process, his independence. He answered smoothly. Nothing unusual. Then she asked whether his conclusions ever favored the party that hired him. "No," he said. "My work is entirely objective." She let that sit. Then she introduced the record. 31 cases, 29 with the same outcome. She didn't argue. She let the numbers speak. From there, she moved carefully. She highlighted a past case, similar to Patricia's, where Dr. Calloway had not contacted the patient's treating physician. Then she showed a statement confirming that omission. The room shifted, not dramatically, but enough. Then she turned to his report in Patricia's case. He had written that his conclusions were based on a comprehensive review of all available medical evidence. She asked whether a comprehensive review would normally include speaking with the treating physician. He admitted that, in most cases, it would. She asked if he had done that here. He had not. By this point, the cracks were visible, but she wasn't finished. Her final question was simple. He had stated in his report that he performed a full range of motion assessment. She asked him to point to the measurements in his report. He flipped through the pages and kept flipping. They weren't there. After half a minute, he admitted the measurements weren't recorded in standard form. Then, under pressure, that they weren't included at all in a quantitative way. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't argue. She just confirmed it and sat down. The impact wasn't from one answer. It was the accumulation, the pattern in his cases, the missing consultation, the claim of comprehensiveness that didn't hold up, the examination that wasn't documented as claimed. Individually, each could be explained. Together, they couldn't. The jury ruled in Patricia's favor. The consequences extended beyond the verdict. Professional relationships faded. Opportunities narrowed. His practice continued, but his reputation had shifted. Patricia didn't seek attention after the case. She returned to work in a limited capacity. The verdict didn't heal her injury, but it validated it. It covered her care and, just as important, removed the burden of being dismissed. That kind of dismissal carries its own weight. Being told your pain isn't what you know it is, especially by someone with authority, leaves a mark. Diane moved on to her next case. No celebration, no spotlight. But what she did is worth paying attention to. She didn't try to overpower him. She didn't rely on theatrics. She asked clear, direct questions and let the answers reveal the truth. The key moment wasn't complex. It was simple. You said you did something. Where is the proof? That's what made it effective. When someone relies on complexity to avoid scrutiny, clarity becomes powerful. A direct question leaves no room to hide. Dr. Calloway's authority wasn't entirely false. He was experienced and knowledgeable. But in this specific role, his independence wasn't practiced the way it was claimed. And when asked to show the work, there was nothing behind it. That's the takeaway. There's a difference between claimed authority and demonstrated authority. Most of the time, the gap stays hidden until someone asks the right question. And the right question is usually the simplest one. Show me. That's what Patricia had been asking all along, in her own way. She just needed someone in a position to make the question matter. At the end of the case, she said something that stayed with Diane. I just wanted someone to look. That's all. Not sympathy, not special treatment. Just for someone to compare what was said with what was actually there. It shouldn't be a high standard, but sometimes it is. And sometimes, the most important thing anyone can do is ask the question others avoided. Show me the measurements. 4 words, months of preparation, and the difference between being dismissed and being heard.